Going, guys? I hope everybody had a great week. Today we're going to be doing our first weight check-in on our meat birds. We've had them about 4 weeks now. Now is the time to weigh a few of them and see if there's any need to increase or decrease their food intake. I'm going to show you the chart that I use for that. We're also going to be moving Bella the pig over to her birthing station just in time for hopefully some piglets to be showing up this week. Thanks so much for joining us. So arguably the most important element when you're raising these meat chickens, specifically the Cornish Cross breed, is making sure that they're growing quickly, but they're growing healthily as well. The way that we keep track of how they are progressing is we'll do regular weigh-ins. Today is about the 1 month mark. I'm gonna check their weights today. I have a certain level that I'm expecting to see them at. If they're above that, then that's an indicator to me that it's a good time to cut down the feed intake, start the 12 hours on, 12 hours off method. The reason that we're doing this is because this breed, Cornish Cross, has been genetically enhanced so many times over the years that they are just created, born, and bred to grow very quickly so that they can reach their market weight within 8 to 10 weeks. The trouble with that, if you have them grow too quickly and if you don't cut off their food intake for variations of time during the day, then they can gain weight so fast that they're gonna have problems with their legs, carrying that amount of weight around on legs that are really only 4 weeks old. And they can also have heart issues, especially in the heat of summer, where they'll start having heart attacks and dropping left and right. So it's really important to maintain a delicate balance there. Now, at the 28-day mark, I'm looking to see a couple things. For one, I wanna see the whole flock growing at roughly the same rate, so no one in there super small or way bigger than the rest of them, because that's gonna be an indicator that I either need to keep the food more accessible for everybody, maybe add another feeder so nobody's getting left out. I'm also gonna be expecting at this point in time for them to be about 3.2 pounds. That's what I'm looking for when I weigh them, 3 pounds to 3.2. And this 5th week of their life is super crucial because this is the week that they're supposed to really start putting on weight at a faster rate as their legs develop and can start to support them. I would expect in the next week to have about another pound, so maybe over a pound, so about 4.5, 4.7 pounds by next week. What we're gonna be looking for today is just to make sure that we're roughly around that 3 pound mark. Super basic setup. I'm just using a standard kitchen scale and I'm putting a bucket on top of that so I don't have to try to balance a bunch of meat birds on our kitchen scale and to keep it clean. So this is a lot easier. All right, so in order to get an average, I took 3 males and 3 females. The males are gonna tend to gain weight quicker, and you can usually tell a male just by looking at it. They're a lot uglier, to be honest. They grow quicker, so they don't have as many feathers on them, and they just have all these weird little bald spots until they get all their feathers in. They are a little bit underweight, so the males came in around 2.7 pounds, and the females averaged around 2.5. They have had 24/7 access to food, but I'm likely gonna add more feeders so that I can make sure there's not just a certain group in the flock that are getting the lion's share of the feed. We'll check them again in a week, and hopefully we can make up for some of that lost time. The only thing we can really do is make the food more available to them in case any of them are missing out. What do you think, Jet? Are you a big helper? It is frustrating sometimes to have them not be growing as quickly as you want them to be. Like I said, every week past that 8 to 10 week mark is just extra expense, but I would much rather have them growing too slowly than too quickly. So I do feel fortunate that they're at least not getting too much feed and they're still healthy and able to walk around and move around freely in the chicken tractor. So you can find like 1,000 different Cornish Cross chicken growth charts online. I just use a similar one every time. I'll put a link to a couple of what I think are the really good ones in the description below the video. But really, if you just search Cornish Cross chicken growth chart on Google, it comes up with some pretty good suggestions. All of them will vary a little bit. So based on the one that I use, my chickens were a little bit underweight. If I look at another chart, they're pretty close to right on par with where they need to be. But find what suits you in your situation and kind of what your tolerance is for how quickly you want them to grow. Figure out what works for you. But I'll give you a good starting point.
So Bella is gonna have her babies on August 16th. That's her due date. She could have them 2 days before, 2 days after, but piglets are pretty close in range to their due date. So we are going to move her to the shed so she can get a little comfortable with her area. We have never had pigs with babies before. We have raised pigs, but never piglets before, so this is new for us. We will be bringing her this weekend. Oh, it's this weekend. Okay, tomorrow we're gonna put her in there. We ran out of time, lots of busy things going on, and now we need to hurry up and figure out a shelter for Renly on this side of his coop area, as Bella will be on that side and nowhere for Renly to get in or out without having to pass a bunch of piglets, and I'm not willing to risk that right now.
So I did get this farm gate at Tractor Supply today, and since we're transitioning Bella over to her birthing station, then we should be able to replace Renly's current setup with a good gate. We are sectioning off this paddock behind me into 2 paddocks, one for Renly, one for Bella and the piglets. That left us with a dilemma of having to create a new gate for Renly to come in and out. So I'm thinking right here, I'm gonna have to saw that log back, put a post in here, and hopefully use that post as well. That's already there. Cut this line and the electric fence right here, so that's not in the way.
Stayed intact. So we finally got the gate up, and as you can see in true homesteader hillbilly fashion, we made it work with whatever we had around here. You can see back there we got his hutch in, and we thought we had to put a really big door on it because he's a big dog, but he actually fits in there very nicely, so that was a pleasant surprise. So you're digging up all that dirt. I've not really seen her do that before. No? Maybe we should get it wet in here for her.
Yeah. When we think about the miracle of life, we rarely consider it as such too far beyond our own species. When we see an animal, like Bella, so close to bringing some of her own into the world, we can't help but wonder whether she feels some of the same anticipation, the same anxiety that we might feel in the same circumstance. The best we can do is give her a comfortable space where she can allow nature to do its thing.